Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bhed Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Gukarastu Andhakaro Vai Rukarastu Nivartakaha Andhakara Nirodhitvat Gururitya Vidhiyate Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let us first review the steps to the Nididhyasanam that we have been doing. So as you know, the 15 steps that 15 parts perhaps, angam, he says, 15 angam parts of Nididhyasanam have been enumerated here. And those are yama, niyama, tyaga, mauna, desha, kala, asana. Up to this we have done 7 of them. And then 8 more are left, which is mula bandha, deha samya, drishti sthiti, prana samyama, pratyahara, dharana, and atma dhyanam, and samadhi. So these we will do later on. So today we have finished up to asana, and we will do mula bandha today. So let us start with that. So the steps or the parts of Nididhyasanam define exactly how Nididhyasanam is different from the yogic samadhi. And so in some sense the yogic steps, ashtanga yoga, and in fact there are some more steps along with it, which I have never studied, but Swami Akhandananda mentions it as part of that, is the starting point of Nididhyasanam. So Nididhyasanam in some way, because we always have this question, what do you mean by Vedantic meditation? And so the Vedantic meditation is very clearly, in a very detailed form, pointed out here. And so this is a very, very useful step for us to be very precise about what do you mean by meditation. So this is what is meant by meditation. The mastery of these 15 steps is Nididhyasanam. So as I was saying that Swami Akhandananda starts with the yogic structure of samadhi, and then takes up from there as to what the differences are between the yogic samadhi, Ashtanga yoga, and also the Vedantic Nididhyasanam. So this is a good way for us to basis, so there is a kind of like a fulcrum that you first start with, because that's what we are used to. But then to go and elevate it to a higher level based on the Vedantic teaching is what Nididhyasanam is all about. So with that, today we are going to do what is called Moola Bandha. Moola Bandha. And so this one is from a yogic standpoint, has some steps involved in it which I was not aware of that until I really read this. But apparently there is a methodology to slowly reach the samadhi. So it is done with what is called bandha. So bandha means tying it to something. Like, for example, supposing you have a birthday party, and you get some inflated balloons. So the young kids, they really love having balloons. This is something very interesting, And so balloons have a nice form, and also the inflatable balloons that they rise up, which is nice. So you have to go to a shop, to Safeway or somewhere, and to get those balloons. Now it's just a problem in making sure that the balloons don't fly away. So tying it to something is an important part. So usually they give you some kind of a weight, or you can just hold it in the hand and bring it home. And so this tying of a balloon is called bandha. In Hindi also, for those of you that know Hindi, will say, "Aap isko bandh dijiye." Isko bandh dijiye means tie it to something. So this is what is called bandha. So here in the yogic samadhi, moola bandha means what is the ultimate point where things are tied to. Moola means the original, the ultimate, the final. What is this whole world tied to? So this is the concept of moola bandha. Okay? So in order to approach samadhi in the yogic way, the following steps are given. So it is called, first of all, he says, ek bandha. Bandha and bandha are similar. So bandha means to close and bandha means to tie. So it could be either one of them, but here in terms of the yogic steps, closing it is like tying. Let's see how. So for example, this is a four-step one. Ek bandha means you close your mouth. That means you don't talk. Because to talk you have to open your mouth. Lips have to change, air has to come out and so on. So mouth is very much involved. So the first bandha, one closing, is that of the mouth. It's called mukha bandha. Okay. Then dvibandha, so this is one. Dvibandha means two. Then you close not only your mouth but also your eyes. Now this is how one goes from outside to inside. You withdraw. All makes sense. Okay, so dvibandha is mukha and netra. Okay, then tribandha, mukha, netra and karna. Karna means the ears. So I don't really know this, how the yogic people close the ears, because the eyes can be closed by just putting the cover on it. There is no cover for the ears, so not sure exactly what happens. Perhaps somebody might know. I don't know whether you put a hand, maybe, I don't know. So you close your mouth, close your eyes, and then put the hand on the ears so that there is no sound. Your indriya, your sense organs are not going out, because if there is a sound, then the shrotra indriya, the organ of sense organ of hearing, goes out to receive it. So here you can do this. So this is Tribandha. And the fourth one, which is called Chaturbandha, is now close your nasika also. So there is no smell. I don't know how, maybe this is, I don't know, I've seen some images of this, so it could be, you close your ears and you also put some fingers so that you close your nose. And he says that, so these are different kinds of bandhas in yoga. And furthermore, this goes into more advanced form of bandhas. And he mentions the name of three of them, where prana, because all of these have to be closed off. So prana is also, I don't know if you cannot close prana because you have to breathe to be alive, but you can really discipline it to a point that it becomes very subtle. So he mentions some names. He says Uddiyana Bandha, Jalandhara Bandha, and Moola Bandha. So this has to do with the Sushumna Nadi inside. And so these steps are all yogic bandhas. Okay? Alright, so far we are reviewing the yogic bandhas. Okay, then now we come to the Nididhyasana bandha, Moola bandha in Nididhyasana. So the concept is still useful. The concept of bandha, of tying it, is still useful, but we go beyond experience. This is what Vedanta is all about. It is not an experience. The experience itself is also a change, and so the knowledge of the experience is more important. So as you know, the very classical definition of experience and knowledge, which we talk about often, Swami Dayananji was one of his favorite examples, is that of seeing the sun setting is an experience. But knowing that the sun is not setting even though it appears to be setting is knowledge. So there is a difference between experience and knowledge. So the knowledge is despite the experience. So this is the Vedantic way, not the experiential. So what happens is that we have talked about this so many times. By now I think you must be tired of my saying this, that in the yogic samadhi, because it is experience, it is anatma, means that it can go and come. How long are you going to do samadhi? While you're in samadhi, yeah, you are in great heavenly experience. You look very good. How long are you going to continue? That is not the truth. The truth is where time is not involved, any experience is not involved, it is in fact beyond experience. This is what knowledge is. So in the case of that example that we took, here the sun always shines. It never sets. So having that drishti, that the sun is constant and it is just the rotation of the earth that makes the sun look like it is setting. And after that you can enjoy it. Doesn't make any difference. This is the Vedantic view, knowledge. So now the Mula Bandha for in Vedanta is what? Okay, so this is a very weighty topic. It requires a lot of understanding, a lot of study, a lot of viveka, a lot of discrimination, because to understand that the sun doesn't set doesn't take that long to explain it to a child. That can be done. Here, however, because of our long-standing apprehensions about ourselves and our way of living, that I am the body, it takes a little longer time for us to unravel. It's not as though the Vedanta is complicated, we make it complicated. So, because we make it complicated, we have to uncomplicate it. It requires some more work. In any case, the methodology must be clear to us. So in the very short time that we have, let us look at the methodology of the Vedantic Mula Bandha. Okay? All right. So here's the thing. And by the way, one of the things that I am beginning to really get a good feel for in reading all the books from the Mahatmas and so on, and it's just the way of explaining really. It just catches one. How the way of explaining really changes your way of thinking. So this one is, which is very relevant to what I'm going to talk about, is our progress, if you want to call it progress, in understanding Vedanta. Understanding the self. Understanding Vedanta means understanding my own self. Who am I? What's happening to me? Where am I going? Where did I come from? What's my future? How do I become independently happy? All of those kinds of things. This is what is called progress. So in terms of the progress of Atma Jnanam, Brahma Jnanam, what needs to happen, what should be done, is to change your way of looking at the world. Simply said, okay, we've been saying that for a long time, ways of looking at the world, yeah. So what? What does that mean? Here what it means is, if you examine how we live our life and how our experiences are, how we analyze our life, how we transact with the world, how we look at ourselves and so on, it is all based on what am I facing? What am I involved in? What are the things that are happening to me? And my own way of thinking is all based on what is my experience? How do I improve my experience? So it is all based on what is called drishya. Drishya means what is seen. Seen means not only seen by eyes but also experienced through the various sense organs and so on. What is experienced? This is what my way of looking at things are, isn't it? True for all of us. From morning to evening, you just examine what you do. You are examining, okay, what time is it? Okay, now what do I have to do? Now what? Then I have to eat. Then I have to go to the bathroom. Then I have to do this. Then I have to do that. Then I have to read. Then I have to, drive. And all these things are all external to you. This is what we do. Okay? So the progress in Vedanta means that instead of doing that unless you have to, this is what is called prarabdha karma. Unless you have to, and if you have to eat, then eat. But the way of dealing with my life, of focusing on things that I experience, should be replaced by what? It should be replaced by something. That's what means progress. It should be replaced by not what is seen, but who is seeing it. Pardon me. So this is what we studied in a very simple form in Drik Drishya Viveka. And what it really means is to get into a habit, get into a abhyasa, a repetition, and follow a way of thinking not of what you see, but who is seeing it. And who is seeing it is not going to be easy, but it is much more rewarding at the end. It is much more subtle, and the Shastra says, follow my steps. You don't have to do it on your own. For looking at things, you don't need the Shastra. That you do it on your own. You don't need any teaching. You have a little bit of teaching, make sure that you are safe, hear good words. All those kinds of laukika examples are there. The Shastra says you can figure that out yourself. That's not. But looking at yourself, who is the seer? The Shastra says there is a methodology. Please follow it. And I know it's going to be subtle, but don't be dissuaded by it, and do it. Do it because ultimately that is the one that is going to give you freedom. So there, the Mula Bandha becomes, you can say, where is the connection? The Mula Bandha becomes important. So, in examining the seer, not the seen, Mula Bandha is a good way to look at it. How? So very briefly, in the short time that we have, obviously this requires a fair amount of understanding, and we have so little time to communicate that my ability to really explain this is limited because of various factors, including time. But here's a very brief look at it, okay? You'll take a look at the eyes. Okay? So the eyes, you see, this is the thing. In yoga, you close your eyes. So when you close your eyes, you prevent the forms from reaching you. Now, this is one way to internalize. In Vedanta, you don't have to close your eyes. What you do have to do is to see the following things. The eyes are seeing forms. Where is the ability of seeing forms come from? Where does the eye obtain its power to see? What is the basis of it? So you go from effect to cause. The eyes cannot see until the Atma blesses it. Until the really seeing is done by the power of the Atma. Because the eyes by themselves is a mechanism. Exactly the same example that we have seen, which is electricity and the application of electricity in some kind of an appliance. So the eyes are an appliance, and the appliance are to be designed in such a way that the electricity can permeate and make it work. Yes, but the power for the appliance comes from the electricity. So similarly, the eyes see because of the Atma. This is the vichara. This is the thinking that I have to do. You see, this is what I was saying earlier, that we are so busy in examining what I need to do, this, that, or the other. But to become adept, skilled in understanding how I see things. Okay? I may complete it next time, but let me complete this step at least for the time being. So, this is all given, by the way, in verse number 114 of Aparoksha Anubhuti. Okay? This is what it is. It is all from there. I'm not making it up. So, the Mula Bandha, as far as the Netra, eyes are concerned, is that it is tied to, here there are 3 or 4 steps involved. It is tied to mind. And the mind is tied to buddhi. And buddhi is tied to Atma. So this is like a 2 or 3 step tying together. But in any case, as Swami Akhandananda Ji so eloquently articulates this, that the eyes gain their power from the Atma. If there is no Atma, this exactly the same thing happens when supposing somebody dies. The eyes are functioning. There's nothing wrong with, the heart may have failed. So you can say, I'm sorry, heart has failed. Is what happens. One or the other organ in death fails. But the other organs are still functioning. In fact, they, when they take out the body parts are still functional. So anyway, for the dead body, the eyes are still functioning. But do they see anything? No. Why? Because the Atma has been disconnected from it through the Sukshma Sharira. So here's the point. Mula bandha here means that the eyes are tied to the Atma. And in fact, one last point, then I have to go and close this section. What the eyes bring in terms of the forms are brought back to the Atma. You see? So they get the power to experience through the Atma, and the result of the experience is all brought back to the Atma. So the eyes don't say, I see. You see. You, the Atma, see. So the results are actually conveyed back to the boss. So therefore, I think we have pretty much done this. I may spend a few minutes just revising it from next week. Mula baddha, the original tying is Atma. Anyway, so this is the step that we will, I hope that this was helpful, and we will close this off, then go to the next step next time. It's already 9:30, so I better move on. So let's start the Gita class. Excuse me. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandaddhami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanishadaihi Gayantiyam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tatkatena Manasa Pashyantiyam Yoginaha Yasyantam na Vidusura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So today we will do chapter 2, verse number 19 and 20. So let us chant 5 verses, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll start with verse number 16 through 20. Okay, second chapter. So verse number 16. Na sato vidyate bhavaha, na bhavo vidyate sataha, ubhayorapi drishtantaha, tvanayos tattvadarshibhihi, avinashitu tadviddhi, yena sarvamidam tatam, vinasham avyayasyasya, na kaschit kartum arhati, antavanta ime dehaha nityasyokta sharirinaha anashino prameyasya tasmat yudhyasva bharata ya enam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanitaha nayam hanti na hanyate yanna jayate mriyate va kadachit tra nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha अजो नित्य शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. So it's interesting. Today, I believe, I think today or yesterday, I'm not sure, is Gita Jayanti. And a lot of the people in temples and others and had do a complete parayanam of the verses of the Gita. In fact, in our ashram that is going on, I don't know if it's being broadcast or not, but if anyone you have the chance or a time to do so, that would be wonderful to do. So anyway, so that's the Gita Jayanti today. Once a year there is a Jayanti. So let's look at verse number 19. Ya enam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tauna vijanitaha na ayam hanti na hanyate. So he says, anyone who thinks that enam means the one which is prakritam. Prakritam means one which is what this whole book is about, this whole teaching is about by what? It's the Atma. So this is the whole, the entire Gita, the central subject of the Gita. So this is the Tatparya. This is the essence, is the Atma, understanding the Atma which we don't. We take our body and mind manifestation as myself, and which is not true. There's something not right about it. So we have to understand the truth about who we really are. Who are we? And so this is what the Atma is. So that is what is done by Enam. So he says, Yaha. Yaha means whichever person, whichever human being. Enam vetti hantaram. Whoever takes this Atma, in fact, really what it means is, and we will go into this, and let me just postpone that for a minute. Let me just give you the word meaning first. So the one who understands the Atma as a Hanta. Hanta means one who does the Hanana Kriya. Hanana Kriya means one who kills. So this is the reference of the war that is going on. So he says, the one who thinks that the Atma kills, and also the one who says that it has been killed. Not only is it the subject of the killing, but also the object of the killing. So both sides. Ubhau tauna vijanitaha. Either one of them. Because there could be just one-sided, which says that whoever kills is okay, but whoever who gets killed is the main problem, not the killer. Or the other way around, the killer is the main problem, but the killed is not. But either way, it doesn't matter. Ubhau tauna vijanitaha. He says they don't know what they're talking about. This is the Brahma. This is the Brahma, and really applies to each one of us. How it in a minute we'll explain. He says, because na ayam hanti na hanyate. Neither it kills, neither is it killed. Not possible. This is not true. So here in introducing this, Swami Shankarananda, if you look at the commentary on page 62, the first paragraph after 18. He says, Yattu papam eva ashrayet asmaniti sankaraha narakaya eva kulagnanam iti katam bhishma aham sankhye iti atmanaha papakriya vishayatvam tat phalabhoktritvam tat kriyakartritva cha manyase tada atmaswarupa ajnanakritam eva bhavati. This is the central theme of this verse. So one more time in Sanskritam, if you want to just read it along with me. Yat tu papam eva ashrayet asman iti. This is the first reference. Second reference is Sankaraha narakaya eva kulagnanam iti. Iti means, so it's interesting in the, you see these marks, apostrophe marks with papam, sankara, etc., kulagnanam. But in the original Sanskrit there is no diacritical, there's no marks like this. So iti is the one which says this is the quotation, means it's finished. Then the third one, so that was number 2. Number 3 is katam bhishmam aham sankhye iti. All these three. Now what do they say? Atmanaha papa kriya vishayatvam. And I'll explain in a minute. Let me just read it. Iti atmanaha papa kriya vishayatvam tat phalabhoktritvam tat kriya kartritva cha manyase tad atmaswarupa ajnanakritam eva bhavati. So he says, first of all, he takes these quotations from various places. And what are the quotations? So here, Swami Shankarananda gives the important connection between Hanana Kriya and any Papa Kriya. You see, this is the thing. What does that mean? Means that if you and I cannot relate to killing, yes, we don't, it's a very rare thing to kill someone or to be killed. That is less rare, but to kill someone consciously is very rare. So we cannot relate to it. That's not me. At least I have a lot of problems, but one of my problems is not that I want to kill someone. I remember, this is so funny, when I was in college in India, in my undergraduate college, there was one guy who really used to bug me. He used to make a lot of fun of me and all kinds of used to say, and he was just, I really thought one day I'm just going to kill him. Because I tried to befriend him and this, that or the other. I still remember this, honestly. And God forbid, I really had an idea that maybe I should just kill him. It's a good thing because my life would be totally different if I'd done so. I didn't have the courage and really not the conviction. So anyway, we cannot relate to killing, but what it means is we relate to doing something wrong. This is what is called papa karma. This we can relate to. There is no one in this world that never does something bad. We all do it in one form or the other. And also we have a feeling as you study that I am the recipient of something bad. I did some papa karma in the past, and so in fact this is what they say, dukkham, any kind of an accident, breaking up of a fall and breaking up your bones, having an accident in the car, is all based on previous papa karma. And it was very normal in our families. My mother and her friends and our people will say, in Hindi they will say, chalo, supposing there was something bad that happens to you and you're very upset, you're crying, this, that, or the other, they'll say, beta, chalo, paap dhal gaye hain. That means that some papa karma has been exhausted. It's okay, because the nature of papa karma is that it comes and goes. It doesn't last very long. I was telling on the Tuesday night class, or maybe it was a Thursday night class, that one of my friends and neighbors just missed a step and broke his wrist very badly. He had to get surgery done. Can you imagine? He's this guy now, and I said, how long will it take to heal? He says, this is a very major one, not a simple one. It will take 6 months. For 6 months, this fellow is in a cast. He cannot exercise. Taking a shower is a big problem. But after 6 months, he'll be okay. So it's all, so now look at this. So there are 3 quotations, and each quotation has a specific reason. The first one is papam eva ashrayet asman, that I am, now I have done something bad and something I have to atone for it. This is the meaning of papam eva ashrayed asman. So this one is, so if you now look at, so there were 3 quotations given and 3 explanations given. What are the explanation? Papa kriya vishayatvam, tat phala bhoktritvam, tat kriya kartritvam. These are the three explanations. So the first example pertains to the first explanation. Yattu papam eva ashrayed asman means this is papa kriya vishayatvam. Papa kriya vishayatvam means that in this context, what is talked about is doing something bad. This is the Vishaya. This is the subject matter. Because you're talking about, this, that, or the other, sports, eating, and so on, and then you say, I have done something bad, and I think I'm going to have to suffer because of that. You may have said something to someone which was not proper, your improper speech. Usually this is what we do. We don't hit somebody by hand, but we criticize someone, we think badly of someone, and so then we realize, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Why am I doing it? I'm going to have to suffer. So that person is going to be very upset. He's going to do something to me. So this is what is called papa kriya vishayatvam. So this is how the Sanskritam is given. Oh, and the second one is sankaraha narakaya eva kulagnanam. So sankaraha means a mixing up of things is called sankaraha. What should be not done, it is done. So here the war with the Kauravas means that lot of different, it's going to be all mixing up of good and bad. And this will really result into long-term problems, because everything is very systematically taken care of by Ishvara. And so if you do a big issue, there is going to be a big problem. So this is what is the second one is. Now he says, tat phalabhoktritvam. Phalabhoktritvam here means that I am definitely going to reap the results of this. Bhoktritvam. I'm very sorry, I have to suffer. So this feeling that I have to suffer. This friend of mine also was telling me, he says, I can't blame anyone. I missed a step. This is so stupid. And it's only a single step within his own home. He should be really thinking, but wasn't thinking about it. He paid a very heavy price. So he says, I'm going to be out for 6 months. So this is called phalabhoktritvam. Then the third one is katham bhishma aham sankhye. Means, how will I fight in this? This is also from Gita, that in this war, how am I going to fight? I can't. I'm difficult to fight. That means you have a feeling of doing something. So that one is what is called tat kriya kartritvam cha manyase. So all the three things are being given. One is vishaya, one is bhoktritvam, and one is kartritvam. Then he says tat atma swarupa ajnana kritam eva bhavati. He says all these kinds of papa karma phalam, bhoktritvam, kartritvam, all of this is due to not knowing your own Atma. Not knowing your Atma. This is exactly what. So you see what Swami Shankarananda has done. He has now brought down the extreme actions of killing to which we cannot generally relate to something which we can relate to, which is papa karma. This is number one. Number two, he says that no matter what your feelings are, so in fact exactly if you look at your life, you find it is full of I did this thing well. By the way, here punya also can also be taken just the opposite. I did something very good. I'm so happy. I think I'm going to get the rewards for this. Or I am getting the reward for this. Sometimes you even think that my God has been so blessed. I'm so blessed by his kalyanam. I'm doing well. I must have done something good in the past. I didn't even deserve this. I'm so happy. So you can do the opposites of papam also. So both of them. So our life is full of good, bad, experiential, all these kinds of things. And you know what? This is the thing that we have to slowly graduate to as we study Vedanta. This also took me a while to really understand this, because it is not obvious. Okay, And this is very well given in one of the epic texts of Vedanta, which is Mandukya and Karika by Gaudapadacharya, which we studied. And I have a feeling we need to do that one more time, at least one more time. Because there it's brought out very clearly what the issues are. So this is what I'm saying, so I haven't made myself clear. What we need to do, there are stages that one has to go through. One stage is where you don't know if there is an overall person in charge of how the life is to be led. That there is in fact Ishvara, there is karma and karma phala, there is prarabdha karma, there is a lot of aspects which all fits together nicely. So most people don't start with that feeling. But the more you study the spiritual heritage of oneself, and this could be in anything, not just Vedanta, but also in other religions, Christianity and so on, you begin to build a trust that this is God who is involved in running the show. And I don't quite understand why people have some problems and other people's don't, but I think there is a method, there is an order, and this is happening well. So this is the second stage. The first stage is you don't know that. The second stage is you begin to understand that yes, everything seems to make sense. And I'm part of that. And let my actions, my thoughts, etc. also be refined enough to follow this worldly order. This is the second stage. This is only an intermediate stage. Really speaking, the third stage is the one that I need to graduate to. And the more you study the advanced explanations of Vedanta, the more you begin to get to this stage. It takes a while to get to that stage. What is that stage? That stage is, and I very briefly, I cannot explain this in great detail, that is the subject of our taking something like Mandukya Upanishad and Karikas later on, we will do that. But very briefly, that stage is, there is no karana and no karya. What it means is that your thoughts should graduate to not, so before you graduate to, it should leave aside this firm conviction that the whole world is an order that I have to live in. And so what is the result of the stage 2? The result of the stage 2 is that you have a better life, better understanding of where you are. You don't feel bad. You don't feel frustrated. You feel more at ease. You still have problems, but at least you are a little bit more secure in terms of what is happening. This is stage 2. This is the results of the stage 2. One should not stay there. Because the question is, so, okay, I'm very happy that now I have Shraddha in Ishvara, Shraddha in the fact that the whole world is structured well, there is an order to it. So what does that mean? Where am I going to go, and should I just live the whole life and just be content with the fact that everything is now in order? No. Something more to do. What is that more? This is the stage 3. In the stage 3, one has to see that my taking the world to be what it is, and because of that, suffering the consequences of my experiences, is stupid. You know, these are the right words to use in English for saying ajnanam. This is not right. This is stupidity for me to think of this way. This is what I have to graduate to. All this time I'm feeling very good that I've gone from stage 1 to stage 2. Now everything is Bhagwan's creation and I'm so on and so forth. Here is another stage, which means there is no world apart from me. This is like, so here if you really read this in you really see the thinking of the Mahatmas who have really made it, and really analyze it, and you understand it and so on. What they all say is that the world is exactly like a dream. This is why we have talked about this in so many different ways. The creation of the dream state in one's life is highly deliberate, very carefully done, not casual. This is the key. The more you read it, in fact, it's just the opposite. We'll go this in when we study the Mandukya one more time. So let me make a kind of like a very surprising statement. And that is, it's just like that we did the Mula Bandha in the same, in line of the same thinking. The surprising statement, what the Mahatmas say, it's not me. This is what the Mahatmas, and I'm trying to also understand this and follow this, is you put too much attention on the Jagrat Avastha. You need to pay much more attention to the dream state. What do you mean by attention? Obviously you have to attend to what is happening to you on a daily basis. You have mortgages to pay, jobs to go, but that's not what we mean by it. So you keep doing it. You just, the question is, where is your real emphasis? Where are your thoughts? What is what you're really comprehending? So there, don't try to really be too involved in this, because this is going to go on. You're never going to solve it. Yeah, we've talked about this, all of that. Anirvachaniyam. It's not going to happen. Do what is necessary just to get yourself up. I mean, I feel very lucky, really speaking, that I got this very early on, but that doesn't mean that I did not, we just want to look at my personal situation. I mean, I was like, I don't know, 32, 33 years old when I met the Swamis. And at that time, I was very anxious to do well in my job, really become an expert in it and really grow up and so on. And all of a sudden, this whole thing changed. And so I'm very happy that Swami Dayanandji actually gave me all the right advice and so on, like all Mahatmas. And he says, no, you have to go on with your life, and especially in my case, because I was married, had children, I had parents, and so on and so forth. I can't just walk away from there. So I have to keep on doing that. But my own emphasis, my drishti, was in understanding what's going on. It is not to really do well. And so this is why, I used to come home at 6 o'clock. If I wanted to become a vice president or something, I'd have to work until 9, go over and beyond. I didn't want to do that. It was good. I made enough money, enough to supply food for the family. That's it. Then from that point on, my whole study was based on Vedanta. So it's not as though that you neglect your Jagrat Avastha. No. But in terms of, and even at that time, I really didn't understand this as well. So this has been going on, slowly. But now that I study the lives of the Mahatmas, and just every year I get a little bit more insight into it. More recently, for example, just in the last few months, I had some, just to share with you. So one of my friends, her husband died through cancer just recently, about a year back. And I had actually introduced him to Swami Chinmayanandji. I was the one who was responsible for introducing. And his name is Pranji Lodhia. And he and his wife Lita, this is a long time ago in 1973, 1974. And they became a big part of the Chinmaya mission. And he became the secretary of Chinmaya mission. And then as things happened, I followed Swami Dayanandji and we broke off from Chinmaya mission. And so we went our separate ways, but we were both very good friends all throughout. Like in all the other cases also, we were good friends and so on, even though from a spiritual standpoint, I followed Swami Dayanandji. Well, Pranji passed away a year ago, and with a very difficult cancer. And Lita, his wife, continues to be a good friend. I actually spent some time with her, my wife also, and to make sure that we are friendly to her and we support her in her, because she is a widow now. So she is very close to Swami Tejomayananda, because Swami Tejomayananda, who took over the Chinmaya mission head as the head, used to be in San Jose. I think many of you know. And Swami Tejomayananda was actually a student of Swami Dayananda. So all of his Siksha came, but he became the head of Chinmaya mission. And so Lita was very close to Swami Tejomayananda and just recently spent a month and a half in Powai, Bombay, where Tejomayananda ji now is. Tejomayananda ji decided that he is no longer wants to be the active leader of Chinmaya mission, so he retired into teaching at the Powai ashram. And some other people are now, I forget the names of the people who are head of the Chinmaya mission, because it's a big organization, very important organization, good organization. Anyway, so Lita and Swami Tejomayananda were talking, and she told Swami Tejomayananda that our friend Vijay Kapoor is the one who introduced us to Swami Chinmayananda, and he teaches in this area and so on. And so Swami Tejomayananda was very kind enough to send me a couple of books and said, please give it to him. And so I also had a chance to read those books. Then I wrote to Swami Tejomayananda that I am, one other thing. Lita and Swami Tejobayananda, when Lita came back, she said, he is very impressed by Swami Akhandananda. He says that he thinks very highly of that. So I already had started to read the books by Swami Akhandananda, along with Swami Maheshananda, in Hindi. This is like a year ago I started really, because I finished all the books by Swami Maheshananda ji, and I've really gotten a lot out of it, but now I got introduced to Swami Akhandananda ji's teaching. And so I started reading it. So when I heard that Swami Tejobananda also thinks highly of him, I wrote to him and saying that Lita told me about this, and I want to let you know that I'm also Hindi speaking, and I have about 30 of his books that I'm now starting to read. I've read about 10, 12 of them. And so if you have some books that you would kindly recommend, please let me know. Well, Swami Tejomananda was so pleased at that, to know somebody who's a knower of Hindi and so on. Because I think I've told you this already, that the texts of the Mahatmas in Hindi, Sanskritized Hindi, not ordinary Hindi, highly Sanskritized Hindi, in Swami Maheshanandaji's case, Swami Akhandananda's case, is far more in depth, far clearer, far more precise, far more effective in communicating than in English. Far more. There's no comparison. So I discovered this about 8-9 years ago. And Swami Tejobananda was also very pleased that I have discovered that, because he's also Hindi speaking. He also knows it. So just in the last week or 2 weeks, because I gave him the list of all the books that I was studying, and I said, you don't need to send me any one of these that I have, but if you have some other books that you would recommend, please let me know. So he just last week sent me 2 books, and one of them is the basic Vedanta, which I have not yet studied, and the other one is the life of the Mahatmas that Swami Akhandananda was associated with. It's kind of like a biography of all the Mahatmas. So it's called, what is called? Pavana Sambandha. Something like this. I forget the name of the book. Pavana Sambandha. So in the last 1 week, I've been sort of at my own. In the morning, I study Mandukya Upanishad or something. But in the evening sometimes, or before going to bed, I've been reading this book that he sent. My God, it is so beautiful to talk about the various Mahatmas, and not only their biographies, but their thoughts, their points of emphasis. What is it that you need to do? So the reason I'm going through this whole thing is, this is the stage 3. And this is the stage 3 which has been very briefly summarized here in this book, in this sentence by Swami Shankarananda ji. He says, and this is not unknown to us. We know that really it is due to ajnanam. Tat kriyarthatvam cha manyase tat atma swarupa ajnana kritam eva bhavati. So he says all of this is due to the fact that this is Brahma. So in the very short time that is left, let me just explain this part for at least before we go. I won't spend a lot of time on going through the other one. There are other aspects of this. So stage 3, to go back to what the topic I had talked about was, you have to go through the fact that my taking the world as it is stupid. It is ultimate stupidity. No one wants to be called a stupid person, but I need to call myself, and not only to call myself, to understand why am I so stupid. So in this sense, let me relate to what another thing that I was already started and I didn't finish it. So let me go back to it. What the Mahatmas say is that instead of spending time analyzing your Jagrat Avastha, your waking life, this is the crux of it, really speaking. The crux of that is, you keep on, don't mess it up. Because if you go mess it up, then, in other words, you could take in the middle of the life some kind of a sannyasa and say, okay, I'm just going to do this all the time. It's not going to happen. You will regret it. So keep going. Keep going. And don't try to teach Vedanta and this, that, or the other. Whatever people want to do, just do it. If somebody wants to learn it, that's fine. But your main thinking should not involve your waking state, it should involve your dream state. And guess what? A more advanced stage is you have to examine your deep sleep state. They say that if you want to really progress, you need to reverse this whole thing. Right now what happens? 99% of my emphasis in life is due through the waking state. Very little is there for the dream state, and hardly anything for the dream or the deep sleep state. They say you just have to reverse it for your own good. So we will have to study what does it mean by examining the deep sleep state. What is there to study about deep sleep? It just happens, so it is. But the whole thing is completely reversed. Because your main emphasis, this is what I am, this is what my life is. And yes, I have to dream. I don't know why I have to dream, but all right, whatever it is, a little bit. And then sleep just interrupts my time. That also is a botheration. I mean, I feel good about it, I'm asleep, but I guess it's needed. But really the main thing is that I am alive and I'm working and I'm transacting and so on. This is the manifestation of stupidity. According to the Mahatmas, stage 3. What they say is, yes, keep doing it because you've got yourself into a problem, you're alive and now you've got married and you're working and you're a voter, you are part of the Republican or the Democratic Party, and all those kinds of things. You've gotten yourself involved in a lot of things. And you cannot extricate yourself all of a sudden by doing that. But internally what you need to do is to de-emphasize the waking state in terms of your engagement, your analysis, your time spent. Start to really think about the dream state. So let's just pause on that. Okay? Why should I think about the dream state? This is where the Mandukya Karika goes into such depth. And really when we studied it, we did really just a kind of like a textual thing. We need to do it again one of these days. What it says is, well, first of all, so there are two things involved in doing this. One is that really speaking, the waking and the dream state are very similar, They are, for all intents and purposes, they are the same. This is one part of the analysis I have to do. Okay? The second part is, if that is the case, then should you not really understand the effect of the dream in your life, which is easier to do because you're out of it? You see, this is important. In the waking state, you are in the middle of the battle. But in a dream state, you have now left the dream, and now you are in a position to analyze it because you are no longer involved with it. And what the dream says, this is why we'll really just finish by it. I won't spend any more time. The dream state is where the stage 3 has to be really done very well, which is there is no prarabdha karma, there is no Ishvara, there is no karya karana. It just doesn't make any sense. It does not have any reality. That's all you have to see. You are the real one. Anything that you take yourself to be is not real. What you see about yourself is not real. But there also you have a body, you have transactions, you have sukha dukkha, you have papa karma and punya karma, you are happy, unhappy. All those kinds of things are the same, but it doesn't make any sense. You have to just completely eliminate that kind of a thinking. This is the stage 3. You were never born. You were always there. You had some kind of an experience, and the experience is gone, doesn't touch you, you are still the same. So it is just due to your not knowing who you were. This is the only thing. You don't have to do anything else. No papa karma, no punya, no future, no this, nothing happening. So this is encapsulated. I mean, if you really go into this, it's just here. So, so if you look at the rest of the, we haven't even finished the introduction to verse number 19. Here I was thinking I will do 19 and 20. Forgive me for being so verbose. Anyway, so so to start with this, so is tad atma swarupa ajnana kritam eva bhavati. So at least understand that. He says all of this papa kriya vishayatvam, tad bhola bhoktritvam, tad kriya kartritvam cha manyase, all the things that you consider, which is nothing but an upalakshana, which is just an example of enam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhautavana vijanitaha. Ubhautavana vijanita means you don't know what you're talking about. Why? Because tad atma swarupa ajnana kritam eva bhavati. There's no papa, no punya, no nothing. This is the stage 3. In stage 2 there is papa and so on. You are at least beginning to go in that direction. At least you see the order. But in stage 3 there is no order. The only order is the asangoham. So this is what it says. Then it goes on to analyze what that means. So he says, Sati atmatattve parignyate. Sati atmatattve parignyate. So parignyate means paritaha jnate. Completely knowing yourself where there is no doubt. Because right now there are lots of doubts. Yeah, Vedanta says that I am this, it makes sense, but I have lots of doubts epitomized by the word but. So he says, no. This is Sati Saptami. Means when that happens, this being the case, that's the English translation of Sati Atma Tattve Parignyate. This being the case where you completely understand the Atma Tattva. What is the truth about myself? Na kasyapi vikalpasya avakashaha asti. There is no opportunity for vikalpaha. Vikalpaha means change. Because that is the nature of the doubt. What doubt does is that you're not sure of it. Then you say, yeah, I think this is the case. Then even that gets changed. There is more vikalpaha. And so here he says, Parigyate sati atmatattve parigyate sati na kasyachap vikalpasya avakasha. There is no opportunity. There is no possibility because it is very clear. You are the whole. Iti atma yathatmya avagateyatum tat prakashana parau mantrau arthataha patati tatra adyena atmanah kriya ashrayatvam tad vishayatvam cha yo manyase sa shrute shruta vedantopi mudha eva iti. So here, I'll just translate this. He says that, hey Arjuna, once you completely understand, when it is clearly understood what Atma is, there is no opportunity for you to say these things that you say, which is like a mudha. And mudha means idiotic. I remember Swami Dayanand Ji used this. He used to use this word, idiot. Really speaking, we are idiots. We think we are all very jnanis and so on. We know. Until we understand what's going on, this is idiotic thinking. That's exactly what it means. Kriya ashrayatvam tad vishayam tachaso yo manyate. Because you're talking that you are the ashraya of the kriya, the subject matter of doing. And then all of that is manyate. So saha shruta vedantopi mudha eva. So this is interesting. Sa shruta vedantopi mudha eva. This is very interesting. He says, I don't care how much Vedanta you study. You are mudha. The study is just one thing that you have to do. But until your thoughts become one with who you are, and once the effect of this is clear to you, you are, I'm sorry to say, an idiot. This is what he says, not me. So he says, this is Krishna talking to, Sri Krishna talking to Arjuna. He says, so let me read the whole sentence. I think that will be clear. At least this is nothing else but just a Sanskrit lesson. So So I'll do the second line. The first line we have already done a few times. Sati atma tattve parigyate na kasya api vikalpasya avakashah asti iti atma yathatmyam avagamayatum tat prakashana parau mantrau arthatah patati tatra adyena atmanah kriya ashrayatvam tad vishayatvam cha yah manyate sa shruta vedantopi mudha eva. So he says, so he says that once you know the Atma Tattvam, there is no opportunity for doubts. And for doing this mantra is talked about. So in two forms, the 19 and 20 are there the two mantras. In the first mantra, he says that if despite studying Vedanta, if you think that you are a karta or a bhokta, I will have to say you are still a mudha. This is the introduction to verse number 19 and 20. And so we are so much out of time that I can't even begin to start 19, and we will have to do that next time. Okay? Om asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityor ma amritam gamaya. Om purnamadav purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnamevavashishyate. Om shanti shanti shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sutta Vedantopi Mudha Eva. Oh, you're so right. We really are very fortunate to discuss Gita on Gita Jayanti. So wonderful. So nice to see you, all of you. So happy that you could join. And I don't see any questions, just some comments. So wonderful. We will see you next week. I should mention this, and I'm going to actually send an email in a WhatsApp group. I think you all get some invitations to participate in the New Year puja done at the ashram. I think that's a very good thing to do for the well-being of yourself and your family, because that puja is done to Dakshinamurti with great detail, great care, and I personally have a lot of shraddha towards it. So I recommend that you sign up for, I think it takes like $101 they're asking for donations. So I think you can go to the main web page of the ashram, and there it is written exactly how you can sign up for it. So, and I'm going to send you a WhatsApp to remind of that also. Okay, Hari Om, very good. We'll see you next week.